Hi guys, a very good afternoon. Masquerase. So let us take a look on President Nelson Chamisa's 2024 pledge to the nation of Zimbabwe and the general populace. President Nelson Chamisa and his team of competent individuals, they want to create a new great Zimbabwe that is built on honesty, integrity, and credibility, rather than one that runs on propaganda and false promises to the suffering masses of our people. So, the main objective of President Nelson Chamisa is to bring about change and transform Zimbabwe into greatness. That is very, very important. So, let us break down the issue of honesty. An honest man always tell it as it is. You don't need to hide. You don't need to meander. You always need to be honest, tell the truth, and be reliable. We are now talking about integrity. We are talking about leaders who value integrity of the offices they hold or the positions they are entrusted with. You cannot compromise your integrity through greediness, through corruption, through kickbacks, or whatever things which affect good governance. And President Nelson Chamisa has made sure that he surrounds himself with the right team, with the most competent team, which want to make sure that a new great Zimbabwe becomes a success. Sometimes it's not about how qualified or how overqualified you are on paper. It's about how far can you deliver on the ground. That is competency. Competency to me is not about qualifications. Competency to me, it's about how much you deliver. That is the reason why you see someone might say, I'm a good driver, but he goes onto the test and fails at VID. That is the reason why you see when you pass your test at VID, you are given what is called the competency test certificate. Then later on, they will print a driver's license and give it to you. That is what is very important. You must prove your competence. You must prove your ability right on the ground, not on paper. And President Nelson Chamisa has managed to do so. He has circulated himself with so many people who are competent enough to make sure that they bring Zimbabwe out of this mess. So we need credible people. We need reliable people. We need people who are eager to make sure that we build this nation called Zimbabwe and we transform Zimbabwe into greatness. They talked about promises, fake promises, false promises. In 2022, the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe talked about the title deeds for Glenview. This is the president who was addressing the people and said, title deeds are kutoya Glenview. Were they delivered? No. We have these people in August 2022, when they were campaigning, at the height of the campaigns, they were talking about modern flats for rural areas. Why do we need flats in rural areas? In rural areas, we are saying toda kurima. Toda kuti use the land yatinayo wisely and make sure that we provide basic food for the community, for the country, and for exports. But it is not happening. The people in government are talking about modern flats in the rural areas. Personally, my vision, when I mean the rural area, is to make sure that we feed ourselves, we feed the nation, and we feed the world. Yes, we are called peasants. Yes, we are called all sorts of names. But we can actually move Zimbabwe out of this mess. The people in the rural areas can sustain CSC. I tell you, the people in the rural areas can sustain GMB. The people in the rural areas can sustain a dairy marketing board. All they need is serious leadership. All they need is viable leadership. We are tired with the people who celebrate handshakes. ZANU-PF celebrated President Mnangagwas handshake with Tony Blair. The man who is at the center of the sanctions on Zimbabwe. They celebrated a handshake with him. They told us about the opening of cold storage in Masvingo in 2018. They talked about Shabani and Mashava employing more than 6,000 people. Did it happen? No, it didn't. There is no CSC in Masvingo. There is no Shabani in Mashava. So they told us about inflation cooling down in 2023. That was in 2022. What happened in 2023? It worsened. My 50 bond, my 20 bond, my 10 bond, my 100 bond were made useless in the year 2023. Now akusina chiriko. They talked about free internet for rural schools. How can you talk about free internet on rural schools when there is no infrastructure at the same school? At my school, Pane Block 1, which is incomplete. But you are told about free internet. How do you expect that to happen? Hamuna madesk ekuti vana vanyorere. That school is still regarded as a satellite school, and they are talking about free internet for rural schools. How can an area have satellite schools which are more than 10 or which are more than 6? They talked about US firms racing to invest in Zimbabwe. Years later, they're still talking about sanctions preventing investors to come to Zimbabwe. They talked about swimming pools in Mbare, but go to Matapia, which Gireko Sadza. All those issues. President Nelson Chamisa says we need to move away from such rhetoric. We need to move away from such lies and deceit. Then we engage with the people of Zimbabwe through sound economic policies guided by honesty, integrity, credibility, and make sure that we transform the nation of Zimbabwe into a better, prosperous country. Zimbabwe can be better. Zimbabwe can be better. Zimbabwe does have what it takes to be the global economic hub, especially the African global economic hub. But we just need leaders with a vision, a clear vision